It's like about midnight because of the time change. But today I'm talking about diversity. So the first question is, to me, what is diversity? And to me, diversity is just the differences in people. Everyone comes from different backgrounds, different families, different experiences. They have different home lives. Maybe they're from a different country. They have learned different languages. They're a different race, ethnicity. They're different socioeconomic status. They have different experiences in their life, so all of those things put together make every single person different. You could have 5 white women at the same age in a row, but they all have different life experiences. They've all been different places, seen different things, and that's diversity. Diversity can be so many different things. So in a classroom, when you have 22 students, 25 students, however many, each student is different, and so diversity can be anything from race and ethnicity to experiences, home life, what they've done. How is there diversity in math? Just like any subject, when you get a group of kids in a classroom learning something, you're going to have diversity. For math especially, because they have different experiences with math. For instance, if you have a family who the parents got a good education and they understand math and they've been exposing their children to not only reading and writing but numbers and money and adding and subtracting, those kids are going to have a way better basis growing up in mathematics than a kid who has no idea how to write the number 5 or how to even count to 100. And so experience with mathematics and the parents' educational level plays a big part in it. Also, some kids are given allowances and given the ability to handle money, and they get to use calculators, or their parents have iPads or iPhones that have calculators on it, or they have math games, or they have leapfrog games. Anything like that involves numbers, and any little experiences like that can make a big difference in a kid's diversity. And resources as well. You could get a kid who's never seen certain shapes when you put pattern blocks in front of them, or you could get a kid who was raised by a teacher and has had pattern blocks in their house. So all of those things can create diversity, and also just a student's ability in school, and if a student was raised to have a high priority in their education, or if they were raised that school is just a means to an end. So that's that. So that is diversity. Diversity, also when you're making, when there's word problem examples, it all seems to kind of fit the mold of a white American student. When you write your own word problems as a teacher, you should be able to incorporate things that the students at your class as a whole have seen and what they know, rather than just saying Henry baked 5 muffins and so took 3 away. You should be able to use things that the kids are experienced with and things that they've seen and things that represent their culture. So as a teacher, that's one way that I would make a difference, by including diversity and adapting to it, and that's just a simple change. I was also looking on horizon.unc.edu, and at first I looked at the website that you posted on our thing, and then I looked at that website, and it talked about homogeneous grouping and heterogeneous grouping, and this is a big thing. And it talked about how in algebra groups, in algebra classes, a lot of times kids are grouped into pre-algebra, algebra, and then they're grouped by if they're really good at algebra, if they're not good at algebra. And so a lot of times kids with bad behavior problems are put in the low groups, students in poverty are put in the low groups, and the low groups often get a boiled down education, whereas the higher groups are pushed to lean more towards calculus, or get at more advanced algebra, rather than having heterogeneous groups where that helps to make everyone's education similar and equal, and they can learn from each other and feed off each other. So that's a major way as a teacher to adapt to diversity, is to just have heterogeneous groups. I understand there's a time where you need to have ability grouping, but overall students should not be grouped as I'm bad at mathematics, because if they were tested at a time when they were hadn't been exposed to a bunch of manipulatives or examples or whatever, then they could have a way lower score than what they're really capable of. So that's a major way to make sure that you adapt to diversity. So all those things play into diversity, and diversity is very important to take into consideration when teaching math.